Welcome to Here Where You Belong, your go-to podcast for exploring belonging with your host and belonging expert, Dia Irby. We are thrilled to have you join us. Together, we'll dive into the depths of what it means for each of us to find our own place in the world, whether it's within our communities, our relationships, or within ourselves. Today's episode is meant to inspire, uplift, and remind you that no matter where you are or where you're headed, you have a place where you truly belong. So grab a cozy spot and settle in. Welcome to Here Where You Belong.
Hey there! Isn't my guest amazing? So glad you joined us today. In this world that often feels disconnected, building community and fostering belonging are essential. That's why I created this podcast, to bring inspiring people to you, to encourage you to create that sense of belonging and community, no matter where you are. If you're being blessed by my guest, and we have some more, like, subscribe, and share this podcast. You know who needs to hear this. Stay connected, stay true to yourself, and always remember, you belong. Now, back to our amazing guest. And we're back with Shannon Freedman. Oh my goodness. Shannon, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm so glad you are a survivor, you are a victor, you have taken the high road, you belong to yourself, and we're so glad. I asked my guests, what is your favorite quote? And you chose, interestingly, to be or not to be. That is the question, of course, unless, I don't know, everyone probably recognizes that as Shakespeare, but expound on that. What are your thoughts? Why is that, of all the quotes in the world, why is that your favorite quote?
Well, thank you for asking. I mean, I always did like Shakespeare in high school, but when I came out of my coma, I had to make that decision. Am I going to be a college graduate or am I not? And I decided, yes, I'm going to finish. I'm too darn close to not finishing, having one semester left, just 4 classes. Thought to myself, there's no way I cannot finish this. I will be a graduate. And by making that decision, I was able to put all my efforts into completing that mission. And the key thing there is making that decision to be the person that you want to be. And making that decision is but the best thing like I coach on the most is us making that decision. Do we want to stay in our injury or do we want to expand past it into who it is we really want to be?
What stops people now that you have been, able to coach some people or help people with this after you've had experienced it yourself? What stops people from the to be?
Unfortunately, a lot of people get very consumed by their injury. And I did too for several years. You get consumed by it and you think all these negative things because you'll hear society say things about your injury. That means you can't do this or you can't do that. And that becomes very poisoning to our brains because we'll believe that we can't. And for me, missing a fourth of my brain, I was told very negative things about that. And I believed it. And that was not being who I wanted to be. So making that positive choice to say, yes, this is not who I am. I am much more than this. And now I'm able to go out and expand myself, become a certified life coach. I mentioned I'm a financial coach as well. My ability to help people is where I want to be. So I'm choosing to be that person. And now everything is falling into place for me to help people through it.
I guess is it because it's hard, maybe to make the choice, because we've talked about that, the decision. I'm going to make the decision. I'm going to make the choice to be. And the people that don't make that choice is because it's a hard choice.
It is. I love asking the powerful questions as a coach to help people explore within themselves. Like, do you want to be this person who is injured and never move beyond it? Or do you want to be this person that you envision inside yourself that has so much possibility, endless possibilities and endless potential to become who it is you want to be? And let people have that chance to see both versions and be able to choose who it is they want to be. And most people will choose to be that person inside of them. And of course, it takes work, but it's always good work to become who you want to be.
What's the first thing? Well, I guess it would be mindset. If you're going to work with someone that's had an injury and they're at the crossroads of to be or not to be, what's the first thing you work on?
Definitely would be like where they're at now. How do they feel about their injury? And being able to feel it is so important. A lot of us will have a physical or emotional injury and choose to push it aside and never stop to feel the emotions about it. And that actually traps us within our injury. When we have a chance to first feel it and really express that emotion and cleanse ourselves of that emotion, we can actually invite in new emotions to be able to bring us forward in life.
Is there a process that you take them through to help them feel, or
Oh,
just
absolutely. That could take a minute, for sure. Like asking the questions yourself, like how do you feel about it? Where do you feel it in your body? All about feeling, but fleshing out that emotion and allowing to feel it. 'Cause a lot of us won't allow ourselves to feel it. We'll push it aside and bury it. And a lot of us have done that. And at that point in time, it really traps us within that injury. So being able to dig it out, feel it, and just be able to get that emotions run through your whole body. It's amazing how much that lifts from you after you do it.
I guess there's a certain element of that river in Egypt. No, denial. The
Yeah,
Nile is not a river in Egypt. If you don't feel it, then it's not real. And then you don't have to face it. So, yeah.
well, no,
Uh,
of course, we have to bury things, but it's still there. And it'll come out at times when you don't want it to, if you don't let yourself feel it and express it all the way through. All of a sudden, it'll creep up, and all of a sudden, you're crying for no reason.
so
Those kind of moments.
if you do help somebody feel like angry or uh, depressed or whatever they're feeling, then what do you do with those feelings when they come out?
Absolutely. Once the emotions are out and we're really expressing them, we have a chance to feel them, then it's like, okay, great. From here, now that you're feeling it, now that you're crying, now that you're very angry, where do you want to take this next? Looking at how you're feeling. Do you want to stay crying and stay angry? Where do you see yourself in the future? I like to create an envisionment where we envision where it is that we see ourselves in the future beyond this injury, because that creates a goal in our minds. Like, yes, I'm sad about it. I feel it. This is not where I envision my life to be for all of it. We have so much time. What is your goals? We envision a goal, and start drawing up that imagination. Like our imagination is so powerful, being able to see where it is we want our lives to be past feeling the sadness or the anger, like you mentioned before, can really be powerful strength and motivation to bring us up out of it and build a path to get us there.
Yeah, I think some people might feel like if I let that anger out over whatever happened, maybe it was somebody else's fault that you were in an accident, and then if you let that anger out, it will become uncontrollable, and you may do something to hurt somebody. I mean, our emotions are powerful. Is that something?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. If you get to that point where you're just so much enraged, a lot of times I like journaling, just writing it down as powerfully as much as you want to, just writing something out and getting all that out of you verbally just by writing it out. I've seen people just write very frantically on a piece of paper, and that actually helps to cleanse out and get out those emotions and that anger because on paper and something you can look back and read and go, okay, yes, that is how I felt, and you acknowledge it to yourself. And that gives you power to say, okay, that's how I felt. Do I want to stay there? And it gives you a chance to make a choice about it.
Going back to that choice.
Very powerful, I feel.
Oh, totally. Another question that I ask my guest is, what do you feel like is your greatest accomplishment? And of course, uh, we've heard what yours is, not dying. Hello. But yes, expound on your greatest accomplishment.
Oh, goodness. I was told so many negative things that because I'm missing a fourth in my brain, I cannot go back to college. And I said, watch me. And I did it and I graduated. I wish I hadn't listened to I heard a lot of negative things after I graduated, and it got me stuck after I graduated to not build on what I had learned in college. And that's unfortunate. That's why I want to help people to not get stuck in those negative thoughts about an injury and not let it limit them or trap them down in their lives. Because there's so much more that we're capable of, no matter what injury we've had. And here I am missing a fourth of my brain, and I've become a life coach. I've become a financial coach. I have all these licenses. I have my bachelor's degree in public relations. There's so much that we can do if we allow ourselves the chance to actually do what we feel is right for us. And it's amazing when you actually feel this is right for me, you go with it and you can accomplish so much. And actually is more powerful than an injury to have that feeling inside of you that, yes, this is what I want. And when you find a path to get you there, you can use your injury as strength and motivation to put you on the path of, yes, this is where I want to be. And this is not going to hold me back. It's going to give me power and strength because I overcame that injury. So now I have the strength to do what it is that I want to do in my life.
Well, that is an amazing story. I know that you'll be able to help many people with that are facing the same challenges that you did, and you can say, "Hey, I'm on the other side. You can make it. Come on." Did you have someone that was sort of a pace setter for you, or were you the pioneer?
Oh goodness, I got a lot of positive reinforcement from my professors. They were just amazing to work with, and they were just so just adamant about, you want to be here and do this, let's get you through it. And they certainly did. I did my lessons, I took care of business, and they were just very encouraging. I love the positive feedback. If I had more positive feedback from people about my efforts and what I was doing, I would have probably been a lot farther than I am now. That's why I want to kind of retrain the mindset of all of society. When we see someone who's injured, let's not immediately go to our judgment phase saying, oh, because you're missing this, you must be dot, dot, dot.
Right.
No, let's let it open up and go, okay, you're missing that, but here you are. You must be so strong. Tell me more. Let people to talk about their injury and be able to give it strength to them, not take anything away from them.
Right. That's great.
So I do feel like I was the pioneer of my situation there because I was held back, but I was said no. After spending several years of allowing that to happen, be held back, I
Well,
finally
you
got to.
didn't have you to be there for you. I mean, like somebody like you, now you are you, and you can go help person A, and person A now has you. But when you were that person A, you didn't have you. So,
Exactly my goal as a coach because I want to give people that reinforcement, that positive, feedback to know you can go past this. You are so much more. I want to give people what I did not have.
where do you find your inspiration?
Goodness, really, it's so amazing. Just, I mean, I've never met anyone missing forth their brain. I really haven't. And then knowing me, people always say, wow, looking at you, you would never know. And I'm actually writing a book about the whole situation. That's one of the name of my chapters is looking at me, you would never know. And that's true for all of us. We can just go through life and being majestic as ourselves, being belonging to ourselves, being authentic to ourselves. And that brings us to a majestic version of ourselves by being authentic to ourselves. And that's actually so much more for that you can do for yourself and bring you through any injury and any challenge.
Wow. Wow. Well, you definitely are an inspiration for sure for anyone who's had an injury, but also for anyone who hasn't had an injury. There are so many injury-free people still living a victim life and not living in victory, belonging to themselves.
But
So,
that's why I do emotional injury as well, because a lot of us have emotional injuries and that can trap us too. And it's about not being trapped behind the events that have happened, because a lot of things happen to people and it's very heartbreaking and it's difficult. But allowing ourselves to feel that emotion and express it any way that works best for us. And there are a lot of different ways people can use. I talk about in my coaching. And I like to be able to help people to use that energy from emotions to help bring you forward and not hold you back.
yes. Wow. So they could be walking around looking at you from the outside. You do have a physical, but we have these emotional injuries that nobody sees. Although it kind of shows up sometimes in our emotional intelligence, in our behavior, in our skills or lack thereof. But yes, I am so glad that you decided to come out of your coma and finish school and have lived all these lives. That was 23 years ago that you had your accident, and you've come a long way, baby.
Oh,
As
yes,
they
absolutely.
say.
And I feel like I'm a great example to the whole world. Like if I could go through this and come this far after having a fourth of my brain removed, what's stopping you? There's
Yeah,
nothing
like
stopping you
what's your
except for you.
excuse? Okay.
We're like, sometimes we
I'm
stop
able to
ourselves.
function with 3/4 of a brain. What's your excuse?
Well, that's very, very true. So like, hey, if I could do it, you can do it. It almost challenges people. Like, you know what? You're right. I can. So
You
it's
can
all a
afford
challenge.
it. Yeah, what's your hold up? Okay, well, thank you so much, Shannon. We will put all your contact information in the show notes and make sure that uh, people know how to get in touch with you. If there's someone, if you have had an injury, either physical or emotional, and you'd like to talk to Shannon about that, champion Shannon, who made it through, please look in the show notes and find out how to get in touch with her and just see how things develop there. But please stay connected, stay true to yourself, and always remember that you belong. This is let me ask one. Do you have any closing comments that you want to say, Shannon?
I love your theme about belonging. So I was mentioning, being authentic to yourself, you belong to yourself. And by ultimately belonging to yourself, you belong to society, you belong to the world, because we are all these puzzle pieces that all go together. We all help each other in some way, shape, or form. So by being authentic and belonging to yourself, you belong to the whole world around you. So never feel isolated, because you're not. You are a part of this big, beautiful world, and we all need each other.
Yes, we need you. And again, stay connected, stay true to yourself, and always remember that you do belong. Until next time, this is Dia Irby with Here Where You Belong. Bye now.
Thanks for tuning in to Hear Where You Belong. We hope today's episode has inspired you to embrace the beauty of belonging in your own life. Remember, no matter where you are or where you're headed, you have a place where you truly belong. Join us again next time for more insightful conversations and heartwarming stories. Until then, stay connected, stay true to yourself, and always remember that you belong.